Thank you for joining me. I'm Kendra, the Scattered Fashionista, and today I'm sharing an art tutorial using watercolor and line drawing. I'll share my supplies as I go along, as well as providing the links below. You'll want to start with some quality watercolor paper. Once you've determined your dimensions, lightly outline those in pencil before you begin painting. Here I'm just using regular Crayola kid grade watercolor paint and a round brush. The round paintbrush is a size 5. What you want to do is, once you've selected your colors, start adding round-ish blocks of color to your paper. As you can see here, I'm going to create a random color pattern and will also vary the size of my blocks. One reason I like to use a larger size paper than the dimensions of my finished product is that it gives me a place to test my colors, and also I like to work past the outline of my finished size, because as we go to the line drawings later on, it'll make it look like the flowers are actually continuing past the edge of the page, and that's just a look I really enjoy. In addition to varying where you put your colors and the size of your color blocks, within each of those color blocks, you also want to vary the shading. I like the darker shading to be towards the center and then gradually lighten towards the outside, keeping in mind you're kind of picturing a flower that is unfolding. You don't want it perfect. That's the beauty of this project, is that it does not need to be perfect, and that actually adds to the charm. But do keep in mind changing up the shading of the colors. So for now, I'll just let you sit and enjoy watching me fill in this page with watercolor. And the music here is actually by my baby brother, Luke. He is a music major, and this is called Nostalgia, and you can find more of his work on SoundCloud. His name is Luke Parsons. As you add in your color blocks, keep in mind that you want it to look like some flowers are in front of each other. So some of your blocks might actually not be in any shape at all resembling a flower. And we'll work with that towards the end, and you'll see how that works when we add in the line drawing. In the center where I have the yellow, that's where I'm going to create my hand lettering for this piece. I'm going to add the word bloom just because it's spring and it seemed like an appropriate word. Once you've finished adding in all the watercolor, go ahead and clean up and leave this piece for a couple hours to dry completely. You don't want to start adding in any ink until your paper is completely dry. That will ruin your pens and ruin this project. So be patient. Maybe start in the evening and then finish sometime the next day. All right, you have allowed your paint to fully dry, and now it's time to begin adding in the flowers. So what you're going to do is find the darkest point in the center of one particular color swatch, draw a circle, add a crescent to the inside of the circle, and then add a smaller circle inside the smaller crescent. Over on the blog, you can find a photo with the step outs for this process. So you can go to the link below, go to the blog post, and you'll find the exact step outs for this process. But play around with it on a piece of scrap paper before you actually start on your watercolor picture, just to make sure you're happy with the design. But also keep in mind, you might not like it at first, but as the whole picture unfolds, I think you'll be happily blown away with what you are creating here. You'll continue this process of starting from the middle and working your way out in that particular color swatch, but keep in mind and keep your eyes open, some of the flowers you will not fully complete. You might work at a center on one flower and then move to the center on another flower, because again, you want to look like they're overlapping. Some of the edges of the flowers will be hidden underneath the petals of the other flowers. And you'll see that in here on the video, but again, take your time, play with it, enjoy the process. I neglected to mention earlier, the tool I'm using here is a Pigma Micron pen, size 01 in black. Later on, when I'm doing my hand lettering, I will be using the same pen, but in a size 03. Before actually lettering my word in ink, I went with a very light pencil and traced that in to make sure I was happy with it. Obviously, I had practiced on scrap paper, and then I inked over the words. Later, after the ink was fully dry, I used a very soft art eraser to erase any lines I had not actually covered with my ink. Once you're done with your project, enjoy it, share it, and if you feel like it, tag me on Instagram or use the hashtag #ScatteredFashionista_art. I'd love to see what you come up with. If you enjoyed this tutorial, I hope you would like, subscribe, and share. Thanks for watching.